Hi guys, welcome to another computing corner video. In this video I'm going to be looking at upgrading the software on my 2008 MacBook. Now this MacBook is currently running Mavericks, and let me just give you a bit of backstory. So I've got a late 2008 MacBook, which is the only model that was made using an aluminium chassis. The body of it was, it's the only one that's aluminium. Because in early 2009, Apple had gone back to polycarbonate plastic for their regular MacBooks. They did a unibody one for the MacBook Pro and kept it at that. Kept it that way ever since. Unfortunately, the MacBooks had been discontinued in 2017. Don't see them now, apart from if you're in a local second-hand shop. So I've seen them in my local CEX in Havant. I've seen them as well in Portsmouth. I might look at getting the last one as well, just so I can then show you exactly what it looks like. But then the MacBook Air took over from that. So I'm going to upgrade this one. This is the 2008 MacBook. As I mentioned, I'm going to upgrade this one to El Capitan, which is the last system this one will support. And then I've got in the next video, this is the MacBook from late 2009, and this one will go up to Sierra. Now I know that they can go up to High Sierra, but I've already got a laptop with High Sierra on it, so I thought I'd make that one just Sierra. Upgrade them both by 2, because this one's running Mavericks and that one's running Yosemite. Which, interestingly enough, when you look at the Retina MacBooks, and then you upgrade those to Yosemite, the startup screen then goes black, and that was introduced into Yosemite on Retina machines. So I won't get it on this one, nor will I get it on the 2009. You have to run a Retina of mid-2012. You have to have a Retina that's mid-2012 or newer in order to get the black screen for Yosemite and later. But join me back in a bit, and I'll get everything set up for upgrading to El Capitan on this one. Join me back in a bit after this. And I'm back. And, well, we've just managed to get the App Store opened up. And I'm just going to go into my purchases. And you get to see everything that I've installed. Everything that I've purchased in the past. Now, I'm going to try and install... I've got to... do that quickly. So this is going to be fun. I need to sign in. Join me back in a bit after this. And I'm back. And, well, I've just tried to install Microsoft Excel on here, and it requires macOS Ventura or later. Now what we're going to do, once I've upgraded this MacBook to El Capitan, I'll go through to see which ones I can install backwards compatibility, because that offers full backwards compatibility, so you can, as in you can download older versions of it, but you can't on here with Microsoft Office. You can with El Capitan. Speaking of which, we'll go to that now. Just right here. And that is 6.21 gigabytes. Which is going to take a bit of a while. And then what I'll do is any apps that I've got, any apps that I can download, I'm going to get rid of Office 2011. If I can do backwards compatibility of that, which I should be able to. And then I'll get the rest of the games that I can get. So for example, with this one, Copilot requires the latest, but it actually requires Sonoma. So I can't even install it on my iMac. Doodle God. Doodle God works with Mavericks. At least the latest version of it does. That's going to slow down my download for El Cap. And then Virtual OS won't. I know it won't. Yeah, there was an error. Yeah, it requires Sequoia or later. This one, if it offers backwards compatibility, it says here, download an older version of Disk Drill Media Recovery. It says, the current version requires, that is Sierra or later, 10.12.6. I don't know why it's calling it OS X, because with the launch of Sierra, that then became macOS. And it says, but you can download the last compatible version. I will wait until I get El Cap. And there's Doodle God there as well. You know, just in case I decide to make any videos on here, which I may very well do, because I'll put OBS on here once I've upgraded to El Cap. This one, you can download the current version of the sandbox. Which is good to know. So it's waiting to install. And that takes care of that as well. Put that over with the other groups as well. Let's have a quick look at Doodle God to see if it works. But I've got 5 open programs, including the bit that that's making this video. I think this might stop the recording. But join me back in a bit and I'll show you what it looks like once it's downloaded. Join me back in a bit. And I'm back. And we are now just getting ready to start the upgrade to El Capitan. As I mentioned earlier, this is that'll be the last system that this MacBook will take to late 2008. I think that's also the same restriction for the early 2009s. I'm just so lucky enough to have a late one there, which is why I can get El Capitan and High Sierra. But this one is the last system that this MacBook can take. So let's click continue. Obviously I agree. Let's click install. And okay, I did download that from the App Store. Right, join me back in a bit and I'll see what I can do with the setting up of El Cap. Join me back in a bit after this. And I'm back. And now, interestingly enough, in this case, I had to set the time and date back to 2015 in order for this to work, in order to try and get it to work. So I'm going to try again. This is attempt number 2. Now, interestingly enough, it's done the same thing. Yeah, obviously I agree to that. Let's try again. Okay, it's refusing to do it again this time. I have actually downloaded this from the App Store. So what I'm going to have to try and do now is to try and force an upgrade from... Yeah, I'm going to have to try and force an upgrade elsewhere. Join me back in a bit after this. And I'm back. And finally, after what seems to be like an eternity, I was finally able to upgrade my MacBook to my 2008 MacBook to El Capitan. It's more like it. So what we're going to look at this part is I'm going to see what's going on in the App Store and what I can install. Interestingly enough, we've got all that taking place. But if you hear any sounds in the background, it's because I'm in the middle of a thunderstorm in my area. So we'll just go into what's purchased. But if I can get Microsoft Office on here, I'll then get rid of Office 2011. Let's check it out with Word. See what it says. Right, bear me one moment, guys. I need to sign in. Join me back in a bit. And I'm back. And we're just going to go through each of the apps that to see which ones I can run on El Capitan, whether they're the latest versions or an older version of it. Start with Copilot. This one's going to say absolutely not. This one's going to say absolutely not, because this one requires Sonoma. I've got to sign in. Let's try again. Yeah, accord it. That requires Sonoma. Doodle God. That works. Let's quickly go into that and see whether it will run. Once it downloads. Now, there might be an update for Final Cut Pro. It's checking for updates still. I've got all these to update as well. I've got an update to supplemental Final Cut Pro. And I've got a security update from 2018. Remote desktop client update, iTunes device support. This is going to be interesting. Let's go back into purchases for now. If it will let me. That's installing at the moment. Let me come out of that and just go back into it. Now, as much as I like this wallpaper, I want to make it more personalised. So I'm going to go into pictures, my YouTube thumbnails. I'm going to have that as my desktop picture. I also want to go into system preferences. And change this to dark. That's open back up. This is taking a while. There we go. Yeah, we've got more up. We're checking for updates at the moment. But what I do want to do is check my purchases. That's gone up from less than a minute to 5 minutes. It's taking ages. I also want to check to see what the incompatible updates I've got there as well. That's done. Let's see if it will work. I'm still recording. Thank goodness for that. It's running. I'll have a look at that later. We will look at Win on X64. Let's see what this requires. Make that Darren's Gaming Corner. This is the first system to introduce the San Francisco font. This one works as well. But then, join me back in a bit, because this will be the point where I wrap everything up. Join me back in a bit. And I'm back. And even though it took me over 7 hours to finally get this done, I've been able to upgrade my 2008 MacBook up to El Capitan, which is the last system this MacBook supports, which is pretty impressive for a machine that was manufactured in late 2008. It's I find that's very impressive. I've got another laptop I'm going to upgrade, but I'm going to do that in another video. But you get to see me upgrade this one eventually up to Sierra. So I'll upgrade that one by 2 as well. But that one's got a broken trackpad, so I'll have to rely on a mouse. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.